I personally never thought I would be this person who would publicly shame somebody, but I guess some people just bring out the worst in you. So here's my story of how I pulled an Uno reverse on my bullies. Before saying anything, I do acknowledge that bullying is a really strong word and one cannot use it loosely. However, I feel that if somebody feels they're being bullied, then probably they're being bullied. You cannot classify only certain actions under bullying, because then you just give away the power to the bully. If you're telling them this is the line, and as long as you're on this side of that line, you can do anything. It's only when you cross this line that we consider you a bully. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You're watching Sasha R on collateral damage. The premise of this story is my undergrad college. I would jump into introducing you to Sanjay, who was the face of the literary scene back in my university. Everybody knew him for his writing and his oration capabilities. He was one of the finest MCs and anchors. He also had good values and personality. He had a best friend, Anna, and both of them were mental health advocates within my university. They spoke about it at a time when people were still navigating and threading it very carefully. So I really respected them and I also admired them from afar. Also, Sanjay happens to be one of those people who identified me very early on in my work with the student body and really encouraged me. He also introduced me to some people. So I definitely consider him a mentor in that journey, and he was one of those people who really motivated me to contest as the lead for the literary team of the Students' Activity Council. Now, so obviously, when I won the literary team lead title, Sanjay was always there for me. He was my pillar of support. I'm obviously kidding. You can smell the sarcasm in my voice from my esophagus. So what happened was, I was very new to the ecosystem, okay? I joined the student club really late. I was accepting help from everybody, and a lot of people handheld me until I got the hang of it, and I was also giving them credit where it was due. So what happened was, every time we had core team meetings or meetings with professors, Sanjay would also be a part of the literary team. Now, the thing is, all of the professors knew him and the core team knew him. So everybody really liked conversing with him instead of me, and I kind of got sidelined. And I completely understood that it was a fair point because I was really new into the system. I had to, work my way through before I earned that kind of reputation. And I was really happy to give Sanjay his credit if he was actually helping me. But what was actually happening was, every time there was some real laborious work that was to be done, like, conducting auditions, organizing competitions, training these anchors, Sanjay would go completely MIA. But whenever there are these meetings where there is visibility, he would very sneakily come stand beside me and almost act like he was the one directing me. And because he had a good reputation, everybody would almost believe him. And obviously, I'm not going to tell them that, no, I did this work and all. That's very childish. I wouldn't have done that because I was still working my way through building this reputation. This kept happening 2-3 times, and then I realized it very quickly. I understood the pattern. So one day in the meeting, he was acting like he was directing me and all of that. I was like, hey, Sanjay, don't worry, I have everything in control. Full stop. He was pretty taken aback because he probably thought I was this naive girl and all of that. See, I'm so grateful he encouraged me, but if he only encouraged me thinking I would be his second fiddle, obviously I'm not going to be, right? I would do what I had to do. So he understood that I was tightening our meetings a little bit. I wouldn't tell him about my meetings with professors because I don't have to. And I also told my team to, kind of not invite anybody externally. So he kind of understood that I was drawing strong boundaries. He kind of backed off, is what I thought. For me, that was the end of the story. However, one fine day, what happened was I was hanging out with the core team, and of course, Sanjay was also in it, although he had no role to play because this year he was not even part of the core team. So, we were randomly just having a fun banter. Now, you know me, right? I have a deadpan humor. For example, the other day I was playing, pickleball with my friends, and I was like, I wish there was no net. You get it, right? So basically the whole joke of it is that obviously that's the main part of the game, but that's why it's funny. You get it, right now I do sound dumb. Probably that day also I sounded really dumb to one of the vice presidents, and he's like, oh my god, Sasha, you're so dumb. And then he looked at our Sanjay and he's like, I really don't know what would have happened with this team if not for you. Now, the vice president obviously told that as part of a fun banter, but he also little meant it, and I knew it, and I was okay with it because I was very new and I knew I would eventually get to a point where I would build enough credibility. So I let it go. I moved on. But of course, our Sanjay picked it up and he ran with it. He suddenly started this smear campaign against me. He would go to all these popular networks within our university and other student bodies, and he would be like, you know what, this Sasha is so dumb. I don't know how to deal with such a bimbo, yeah, and all of that he would say. Everybody obviously started to believe it. However, what worked in my favor was that while that was happening, I also ended up doing some really good work. So the professors started appreciating me, and the core team also started recognizing me. They knew that, okay, Sasha is a responsible girl. You give her something, you can forget about it, she'll take care of it. I started building that reputation for myself. Meanwhile, I was also slowly starting to become the literary face of my school. Little bit, I wouldn't say the only face, but definitely making my mark over there. And I also was on my journey towards becoming the bestest of friends with the core team. Time to Sanjay fell flat on his face. It did not work on me. End of the story is what you thought, right? No. There is a little detail that I left out. Now, backtrack a little. Somewhere between him and I meeting each other for the first time to actually me becoming this lead for that club, there was a phase when we mutually kind of liked each other. I really don't want to dwell into it because obviously it's college drama. That's not the topic of this video. So there was that phase, and he confessed it to me randomly when we were working together. He was like, you know what, Sasha, I have a crush on you. And I was like, I also had a crush on you. Then he was like, what do you mean by had? Then I'm like, I'm seeing somebody, because I was actually seeing somebody. I was very serious about that person. Only conversation we ever had, and then we moved on. Now let's get back to the smear campaign. At this point, he also lost a little bit of credibility within the core team, obviously because he was not being genuine. Everybody started seeing through him. Now, suddenly, what happened was, out of nowhere, everybody started to find out about this little mutual crush that Sanjay and I had on each other. A lot of people were asking me about that. I was wondering, how come everybody knows about this now, all this while nobody knew it, because we never discussed it with anyone. Almost like there is some heartbreak situation between us, while that was never the case. It was a very innocent crush that died in 2 days, and I was in my own mess. So one day what happened was, there's this another friend of mine. It's my university was really small, so everybody knew everybody, okay? So he called me and he's like, you know what, Sasha, I heard that you're mentally harassing Sanjay. And I'm like, what do you mean? Then he's like, yeah, apparently you're playing with his mind because of this mutual crushes you guys had, and you parallelly seeing other people. Then I was like, who told you all this? Then he's like, Anna. I'm like, Anna, you bitch. So I called Anna, and to be honest, I was not mad at her. I genuinely thought she didn't know the whole story. So I picked up the phone, I called Anna, and I was like, hey, what is going on? This guy told me that I've been mentally torturing Sanjay. Then she's like, yeah, you've been torturing him. And I'm like, what do you mean? In what way? Then she's like, yeah, this on and off thing with him and you seeing other guys. And I'm like, what do you mean? Nothing really happened. Then she's like, listen, Sasha, there was a point when he liked you, but he doesn't like you anymore. Then I'm like, I know that, but neither do I. But then she's like, oh, then you really have to move on. And I'm like, what happened? What did I even do? So I felt like she shut me off completely. She was not having a dialogue, it was a monologue, and she almost made me feel like I was chasing him or something when nothing like that really happened. But I was livid, okay? I was livid. I was so mad and I wanted to channelize this somewhere. So we had a very active Instagram page for college confessions. I went to that page and I wrote, Sanjay and his sidekick Anna, these are fake mental health advocates because they are the ones who bully people but act like they are the ones who are the victims. I put that and I slept. Next day morning I wake up and I'm like, let me see if the confessions page posted my confession. So I went to the page, they posted my confession. Then I go to the next confession. Somebody was like, yeah, you're right. I completely agree. Anna, the sidekick, and fake mental health advocates and bullies. I go to the next story, same. Go to the next story, same. Everybody, at least 10 people validated my thought, and almost all of them agreed with them being bullies and them almost weaponizing their mental health. So I was so happy. Those were the happiest few days of my life. I was like, oh, I was saying I'm cuckoo, they're cuckoo, so I'm not cuckoo. So I was very happy. Well, am I proud of it? I wouldn't really say, but do I regret it? No, because cut to years later, what happened was I was working somewhere and we had a colleague who was mutual friends with Anna, and that colleague and I became really close. So one day she told me that Anna told something nasty about me. Now, what she told was a very twisted paraphrasing of what happened. So I'm going to give a proxy analogy. Imagine I applied to my dream colleges, which are very highly ambitious, but I didn't get into it, so I took a gap year. But your friend will go tell them that, Sasha sat at home entire year because she couldn't get into any university. You get it, right? Like, it is correct, but if you jumble it and paraphrase it, it's the framing effect. If you frame it that way, it sounds so twisted. This into 100 is what she told, and that was downright slut shaming of what she did to me. I was so disturbed about how can somebody be so nasty. So I don't regret that. Also, around that time, what happened was Sanjay randomly texted me and he was like apologetic for his behavior, and I'm putting the screenshots here. I'm going to be that person. I urge you to pause this video and read the screenshots. Sorry for being that person, but those messages, I'm grateful to Sanjay because it really validated my thought, because there have been moments when I thought, am I over exaggerating this in my mind? Is this all my imagination? But his sorry just assured me that I was not wrong. I was indeed cornered and kind of bullied. But I do feel that that wasn't the right approach. I was being very cowardly. I did not expect so many people to come in support of me. I was just doing my confession. It was cowardly because I didn't tell anything on their face. After that, I tried to tell people that it was me who started because it became a movement. I'm like, yeah, but nobody told them that, I guess. So they never found out, I guess. If they watch this video, then hello, sorry. I obviously moved way past that. I honestly have no grudges against anybody, and I'm a full grown adult now. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little proud of the 19-year-old Sasha, but obviously we've moved on. Nobody's a good person or a bad person. We're all little evil human beings, so nothing like that. It's just a fun lore for me to say. But I also hope that they also had this moment of reflection and we're all better people today. But please do let me know in the comment section about what you think. We'll really sit down to diagnose what went wrong, and if I was a bad person, if they were bad people. In that context, nobody is bad, but all of us are little bad, little evil. So let me know in the comment section. Until then, I want to work on my next video.